Hey, all you happy lost souls. How's everybody doing out there? Hope everyone's doing great. This video is titled Oh Skarn. We're going to be talking about Skarn deposits and how they can help us with the little pieces to our artifact puzzle and how they can help fill in some geological clues. And what is Skarn and how does it form? And what can you find in Skarn? Weird word, Skarn, Skarn. And there's a lot of examples of Skarn out below. But before we get into that, just give you guys all a quick update. I have been working extremely hard on the room. This side's not done yet. Most of the gemstone stuff is all over on this side now, separate from the artifact stuff. I'm not done yet. I'm still doing a lot of work and got a lot more shelving in. Got a lot more of the collection out, and I'll be doing another video either tomorrow or later tonight, discussing some of the artifacts and where they were found and different time periods, and like a normal Happy Lost Souls video. We are also going to have a contest. I said I would announce or do the video around 2,500 subscribers. We've had so many subscribers in the last week, like almost 300. I'm going to push it back to 3,000. And when we get around 2,500, I'll announce how the contest is going to work for the free giveaways. I've done 2 of them prior, and if you win one of these smaller contests, it enrolls you in to the grand prize, and that'll happen around 10,000 subscribers. There'll be 10 entries. I do a contest around every 1,000 subscriptions. So, but let's get back into the purpose of today's video, and it's called Oh Skarn. So, what Skarn is? Skarn deposits form through contact, metamorphism, and metasomatism. And that occurs where these really hot minerals, and they're fluids because they're melted up, igneous intrusions such as granite, gabbro, that type of stuff is melted, and it intrudes and it reacts to surrounding carbonate rocks. So it is igneous, a liquefied igneous rock that intrudes upon a deposition of carbonate rocks. And carbonate rocks are like limestone, dolomite. And this will alter the original rock. It'll replace it with new silicates, new types of ore, depending on what was in that melted igneous. So the importance of it is it kind of tells you a bit about what's going on in the area geologically. So Skarn, in this form of Skarn, which is a metamorphic form, it can also form deep under the ocean in sedimentary deposits as well. So this we could tell because we have a big piece of Skarn here, but we have magnetite in it. And we know based on the area, because of the limestone deposits and the Cambriatic Sea and the metamorphic uptick, you knew that we were going to have zones that produced Skarn. And Skarn is really, really neat because you can find all kinds of things in the Skarn as well. Like what I have back here, the super white rock, and another one right here. This is limestone that through this process, and through the process of metasomatism and metamorphism from the liquid igneous intrusions and magma intrusions, literally will take limestone and it'll turn it into a marble. So you get some marble back here. You get echoglyte, amphibolite, and then these little crystals mixed in this caulk-like material. You'll see a very caulk-like material with skarn because of the limestone being metamorphosized, and like its substrate almost looks powdery. And a lot of times you'll see these little crystals mixed in. And those crystals are generally pyroxazine crystals. And then this base material that it forms, you can find other metals in it. Iron, there's a lot of iron in the magma. You're going to get magmatite. If there's copper, you can get copper forms around skarn deposits a lot. It's associated with thermal activity. You can get zinc, lead, tungsten. These are all metals associated with it. Trying to think of the other name here. I'm going through my notes real quick. The further away from the zone of intrusion you are, so say you're further from where the liquid magma interacted with the carbonate rocks. If you're further away from that, you're going to get different materials. You'll get more like your amphibolites and paradites. And if you're near the intrusion, when the stuff forms, then you're going to get a lot of your metals, and you'll get garnets and pyroxazine. And I brought this piece out here because this is a piece of old garnet. They called it Skarn. That got, you know, a lot of garnet. It metamorphosized and changed itself into this garnet materials all throughout this matrix of Skarn. And they call this old garnet usually in the gem world. And you could see its intrusions can create other things like this green crystals, this that's peridotite, and you get a lot of red. You can get a lot of garnets, and you can even get rubies within this stuff too, because another form of this rock that you'll see in this area is this stuff called echoglite, where you get the serpentining. You get that same effect from the intrusion of the metamorphic rock. You get that skarn effect. But really, what I was super interested in and why I decided to make this video now on the skarn and the skarn depositions is because how it relates to the artifacts. Years and years ago, I found these series of 3 artifacts. Actually, these 5 are all found by the same ancient hot spring, or sacred hot spring as I call it. I have a couple videos on them. And they were left in pairs, usually deposited under large white ghost trees, as I call them. When it rains and the banks get washed out, they reveal where these things were deposited. What's fascinating, though, is this particular hammerhead right here. This hammerhead is made out of solid, pure magnetite. It's extremely magnetic. The magnet will stick on there, and especially when you get the magnet on there, it'll stick to it. And what I want to show you, because I only got one hand here, is this is highly magnetic here. I'll stand it up for you. I'll come down. You see the magnetite running through the skarn right there. And the magnetite being formed this way tells us that there was an intrusion of magma into a carbonate zone of rock. And that's exactly what we see in my area of Huntington Valley. It's where that metamorphic uptick meets the limestone deposits and soapstone deposits. But you get this extremely magnetic reaction with the magnetite, and it'll just stick to it because it's a highly magnetic material. And they were crafting these artifacts out of it, like this right here. This hammerhead is made from this magnetite. I originally thought that this was left at these sacred areas, and it was brought from like New York, because magnetite like this forms a lot up in the Nice and the granite banding up in the New York area. So I thought maybe originally they were a pilgrimage to these sites, where they were visiting these sites and they were leaving offerings from other areas. But it seems like no, they were sourcing the magnetite right from around these hot springs. And then you see them making effigy stones. You got the head of it's either a turtle or a bird of some sort. Like I said, the snapper turtle, alligator turtle, is worshipped along the Pennypack. And The old hot springs, and some of them are still warm to this day. You can see the steam coming off them in the winter, and it's where a lot of the big alligator snappers like to hibernate down in that warmth. So it's very, very interesting. Anthropologically, we could say, hey, it seems that the sacred or ritual deposition of artifacts at these quarry sites and these deep pools were most likely associated to the thermal activity and the thermal properties. The hot water with the steam coming off of it, the curing muds, all of the amazing stone and geological activity around it. Remember, most ancient cultures, Native Americans, Celts, Egyptians, ancients, all across of time, what we can see as far as in the artifactual evidence or the inferences we make from how some of these are spiritually deposited, always along these pools and in the waterways and in streams, rivers, or creeks, which is a lot of these cultures literally thought that's where all life came from. And in a lot of these ancient belief systems, every single thing had a god or had it was animated or alive. So if you took rocks from a quarry that were really, really good, there would be a god or a deity associated that you would then be giving back the tools to, or possibly these were areas of intense meeting and they were culturally important in many groups, so their offerings or protections, or maybe their rituals where two tribes come together and they're exchanging artifact groupings and leaving them. I really think the hot spring angle is why these pools, you see all these spiritual objects deposited around them. And the fact that I found the local source for the magnetite, I wanted to share that because a lot of times I go through the artifacts and I don't really talk about the material culture much. But this is just a short video about Skarn and what it is. I didn't go into it in depth, but pretty much what Skarn tells you is you have an area that was in the past a liquid igneous magma intruded, leaked, was pushed either through an uptick or through tectonics and the plates and plate movement. That liquid, all that metal and igneous material, that liquid material was pushed into the carbonate deposit of limestone, dolomite, and then you get all these different minerals and cool materials that form, and you get gemstones that can form in this stuff too. Peridotite, all kinds of garnets, pyroxazine. You can see all the little pyroxazine crystals running through that coke-like material that I was telling you about. And Skarn always had like this white powdery looking substrate because that was the limestone. And after the limestone gets pushed and heated, it can turn into a couple things. Like if it's a gypsum type material, it gets heated, you get an alabaster. If it's limestone, pure limestone gets heated and pressurized, you get a marble. But anyway, that's going to be about it. It was just a quick video kind of explaining what Skarn is and what it can tell you. And it kind of tells us in our area where there was geothermic hot springs and that area where the magma from the metamorphic uptick intruded upon the carbonate deposition of limestone and dolomite and other possible silicates. Anyway, guys, stay tuned. And like I said, a lot of times your main ores that are associated with Skarn are generally copper. Sometimes you get nickel, lead, and iron. Anyway, guys, stay tuned for some more content. I want to thank you all so much. The channel is growing. And we'll get into some of these other crazy artifacts, the sapphire knives and scrapers and the effigy pieces. We'll start talking about all this very, very shortly in an upcoming video. I talk about this stuff a lot. I have a lot of other videos posted. Please check them all out. And again, I just wanted to kind of share what Skarn was. And if you ever see this caulky looking white rock that has a bunch of other things kind of mixed into it, like that's what you're talking about. So I moved most of it over to this point already. But, these are all different forms of Skarn. So here's Skarn with garnet, or they call this old garnet. This actually has some value to it. You could sell a hunk like this probably for $75 to $100, honestly. But yeah, you got another big piece of garnet that formed on one of these other pieces of Skarn right here. Right here, you see a big piece of garnet in there. You always have this caulky looking material, like a plaster of Paris or cement almost, that binds everything together. It's a telltale sign of Skarn. So anyway, remember, Skarn occurs and Skarn depositions occur. This is the one thing I want you to take away. It occurs when igneous, molten metamorphic material, or igneous material like gabbro, granite, when those materials melt and then intrude upon carbonate materials like limestone. And of course, because I sit right on the area, right in the valley where the metamorphic uptick from the ancient Rift Valley, from when Pangea broke apart, that uptick intrudes upon the largest limestone deposit pretty much on the East Coast. Literally, that's why there's silver and gold found around my neighborhood, because we're so close to the limestone line. And you get all these metals forced out by that, by those processes. Anyway, guys, stay tuned for some more info and some more videos. I love you all. Stay safe. And if you're lost, stay happy. It's in those moments you find your true self. And stay tuned for more content and announcement about the contest that's coming up very soon. I'm still working on finishing laying out all the artifacts and gemstones in a more displayable fashion. It's getting there. It's a lot of work. It's a cool tray down here. Most of those all come from the Chamonix. Get a lot of heat-treated tools made out of chert. I'll be talking about this whole tray of older non-composite chert tools as well in an upcoming video, and how they relate to Denisovan and Neanderthal sites. Like I said, guys, stay tuned for some more interesting stuff about this cool collection that has been creating more questions than it has answers for the last 15 years. You're just coming along with the journey that I've been on. And if anybody else finds things similar, you can email them to happylostsouls27@gmail, or you can send them over on my Instagram, which is also happylostsouls27. I'm very bad at getting back. I get a lot of different messages. What I try to do is I try to take other content creators and things that they have found that are similar to things I found in my collection up along the whole East Coast and across the whole world, essentially, and I try to add those videos into playlists. The one big playlist you guys could check out is called Connections Between Collections. So there's a lot of different people across the country and world that find similar things, and it's just fascinating. It's really, really hard to try to talk about a group's culture or spiritual beliefs without them, without a writing system or a record left behind. You're just making guesses on the things that you find. That's why it's very important to keep an open mind and to use critical thinking skills and kind of let the evidence you find create the narrative, and not let your narrative try to box you into what evidence you're looking at. You always want to keep that open mind and think critically. But really, this was just about Skarn, that stuff called Skarn, and the clues it can tell us. And in this case, it can kind of make inferences on this group's spiritual practices. If the bulk of these items are found around these old hot springs, and some of them are still actively thermal, not where the water's hot, but more like it's bath water in the wintertime. Um, and there's other places. There's a place I believe along the Schuylkill that's like this too. That was worship that they find artifacts at as well. There's usually always ghost trees within the proximity of these pools, or as you call them sycamore trees. I call them ghost trees. They were used to mark important locations. Sometimes if you see one, it's where an old property used to be, like colonial property that's not there anymore. And they're the first trees to grow back after things are cleared away. So if any kind of industry, like an ancient quarry was there and they cleared trees down, the first ones to grow back would be the sycamores. And they like to grow along water. And they have no problem bolting into poor soil. So, but I digress as usual. Again, the takeaway from this is all about Skarn. And this is different examples of Skarn mixed in with different, this is like an amphibolite slash paradite, pariodite, I guess you would call it. This is that old garnet, or it's the garnet and Skarn complex. And this is right on that almost echoglyte, but it's got a lot of pariodite in it. And some of the stuff that has more of this stuff that looks like quartz in it, that's more of just pyroxazine crystals, which they use a lot of pyroxazine's used a lot in synthesizing different pharmaceuticals, I believe. But anyway, guys, stay tuned for some more, and I love you all. Peace.